Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Governor, John McLaughlin, coming through. Gonna do a short video today, which is focusing on why you need to learn the stock market. Um, we'll try to keep it short and sweet, straight to the point. Um, this video is really designed for people that are not already in the Abacus, and maybe have been thinking about it, or maybe have never even heard of us before. But this is for you and why you need to learn the markets. The Abacus is a group that teaches exclusively black people how to create generational wealth using the markets. Started in 2014 by Mr. James Tompkins. I've been a member for over 3 years, and it's definitely been one of the better investments of my life. We're not a group out here that's we're not a get rich quick scheme. Um, we don't take your money and tell you that we're going to flip it for you. What we do is teach you methods on how to educate yourself so that you can be a knowledgeable investor, a knowledgeable trader, and have skills that you own forever that can create immense amounts of wealth and that you can pass those skills on to your family members and your other loved ones. So, why you need to learn the stock market? A lot of people are kind of scared of the stock market. They don't understand it. They haven't been exposed to it before. But the reason you need to learn, there's a few reasons, but we'll start off with the fact that it's the greatest vehicle for creating wealth that's ever been seen on the planet. Pretty much everybody in the world, besides, you know, poor people, are involved in the markets. Who happen to be your university, your insurance companies. Um, there's so many. Every basic institution basically invests in the stock market, and that's how they keep themselves wealthy. Um, Over 1,700 new millionaires are made every day in the stock market. So that's 1,700 new millionaires every day in the stock market. There's literally trillions of dollars flowing back and forth in the markets every day. And if you learn how the game works, you can get in the game and you can carve out your piece of that. And there's basically an unlimited amount of wealth that you can generate doing that. Secondly, probably most importantly, because this is what most people probably think of when in terms of financial security, they think of wages and salaries. And the truth is that no one is ever going to pay you enough to get free through a salary. No one has ever gotten free through a wage or a salary. Even if you make a good salary, it doesn't lead to generational wealth. It might lead to some comfort. It might lead in you not having to struggle week to week to pay your bills, but it's not going to create generational wealth unless it is put to work. And I'm sure we can all think of numerous examples. They always get picked on as the examples, but they're easy to see. The athletes, the entertainers, and things that make millions of dollars a year and end up broke. It's because they don't know what they're doing with their money, and they're not putting it to use in a proper way to create generational wealth. Um, the other thing about salaries and wages is that they can be taken away from you any time unless it's your own business. They're not something that's guaranteed to you. They can be taken away. Whereas the markets are going to be there every day for years. For generations. The New York Stock Exchange has already been around for over 200 years. The stock market in general, I think, originated in like the Netherlands or something like that, back in like the 1400s or something like that. Um, so it's not going anywhere. The whole world has basically gone to a market capitalist system. Even the socialist countries, the quote unquote socialist countries, still participate in market capitalism. So there's really no way to avoid it, and it's not going away anytime soon. Um, so now I just touched on, unless you have your own salary, meaning you start your own business, your salary is not guaranteed. And I'm definitely not, shitting on entrepreneurship. It's definitely a great idea to start your own businesses when possible. But another reality with that is that 80% of businesses fail. Okay, so the vast majority of businesses that people start are not going to succeed. They're not going to last more than 5 years. And then if you think about it, even the majority of businesses that do last more than 5 years, particularly if we're looking at a small business, a local business type of setup, they're not going to be creating so much income that they're creating generational wealth. It's the same thing. They might replace having to work for somebody else for a job, which is great. It might create generational income replacement where your kids can take your business over and have a steady income, but it's not going to create generational wealth in and of itself more often than not. I mean, a few of them might if they blow up and become huge corporations or big regional companies, maybe. But by and large, even the successful companies are not creating generational wealth. You have to take that income that it generates and you have to put it to work. The way you create generational wealth is by making money work for you. Make your money make money even when you're asleep. Okay, so those are some of the reasons that you need to learn the markets. It's the best way, the most um, the most likely way to create generational wealth that you can pass down for generations. Um, why you should learn the markets right now is because this is the best time to have access to the markets in history. A lot of people think of the markets as something that's just for rich people and that they can't be a part of. And in the past, that might have been true. Back in the day, you had to have access to a personal broker that you knew personally. You had to have X amount of money to invest to start with. None of those things are true anymore. Okay, brokerages are just computers basically that you sign up for. You make an account. They don't really even hardly ask you for much of your personal information. They don't ask you your race or anything like that. You just basically set up an account. You link it to your bank account. You put some money in there. You can put as little money in there as you want to. You could start with $50. You could start with $100. Um, Not only that, but these people are willing to pay you to open an account at this point. And that could be, you know, whether you're depositing from $100 to $250,000. So I'm not going to assume where you are on that scale, but I'm also not going to assume that no black people have a lot of money they could deposit. So if you can deposit $25,000, $50,000, $100,000, you can get a nice little chunk of change, a few $1,000s back on that just for signing up. Even if you don't have money, you can sign up for an account like M1, for instance. You can put $100 in there, and they're going to give you $10 right off the bat. That's 10% return. So if you keep that in mind, a savings account on average gives you like run 1% basically a year. So that doesn't even keep up with inflation. Inflation is recorded as 3% a year, a little over 3%, I think, a year. In reality, it's probably much more than that. So if you're saving money through a savings account, you're never actually getting ahead because you're only getting 1%. So the markets are wide open right now. They are actually encouraging people to get into the markets, whereas in the past it might have been more exclusive. Now they want more and more people to become part of this. Um, and With all that said, why I'll end off with why I think you should join the Abakas to learn the markets is because, as I said, we're not a get rich quick scheme. We're not out here trying to make promises to you about, oh, if you give us this amount of money, you're going to end up with this. We don't do any of that. We don't promise you anything. The Abakas is what you make it. And what we do promise you is that if you apply yourself, if you learn the knowledge of what we're trying to teach, we give knowledge. That's what we give. If you apply yourself and learn the knowledge of what we're teaching, like I said, you will have skills that you will have forever, that you will own forever, that you can give to your children, that nobody can ever take away from you, that will teach you the methods that the wealthy people use to stay wealthy and to create wealth. And you'll be able to make those decisions, those informed decisions for yourself without having to go to other people, without having to try to follow some, person on Facebook promising some scheme where you're giving them money and they're promising you you're going to get rich. You don't have to do any of that because you'll know how to do it yourself. So I guess I'm going to end it there. I'll put up a few pictures and graphics and charts and stuff below this video when I share it so that you can get an idea of some of the things I'm talking about. For instance, when I said that you can start investing with $100, a lot of people will probably think, What's that gonna do? It's not gonna make a big difference. Um, but investing in generational wealth is a slow game. It's not a quick game. So, like for instance, I have a chart showing, if you invest $100 a month for 40 years, how much money you'll end up with, and it's in the six figures. Um, so you got to keep things in like that in perspective. It's a slow, steady, persistent thing that builds itself over time. It's called compounding. And over time, things just continue to build and build and build. It's an exponential curve. It starts off really slow and then it shoots up at some point where it just starts multiplying itself dramatically. So I'll share some of those graphics below this video once I share it. If you want any information about the Abacus, hit me up. John McLaughlin on Facebook. And, hope to hear from y'all soon. All right, bless up.